Hey guys, Real 2K Insider here, and I want to play Ratings Doctor for one of the worst rated players in NBA 2K24, Mr. Jordan Goodwin of the Phoenix Suns. Just a brief recap on Goodwin's career leading up to this point. He spent 4 years at St. Louis, went undrafted. He did not shoot the ball very well in his college career, and by very well, I mean he shot it very poorly. 42% from the field, 27% from three, 58% over his 4 year college career. Was regarded as a good defensive player, but obviously his offense is the reason why he went undrafted. So he ended up toiling around a little bit in the G League. Went to camp with the Washington Wizards, didn't make the cut, then went to their G League team, the Capital City Go-Go, signed a 10-day contract with them, which ended up being his rookie season, went back to the Go-Go, went to camp with the Wizards the following year in 2022, and was able to get a two-way contract out of them. And then back in February of this year, he was converted from a two-way contract to a standard contract, as he was one of the better, more surprising players for the Washington Wizards, a team that was more or less bereft of talent last year, had injuries to Bradley Beal and a lot of the other players on the roster. So he was able to carve out a role for himself, and then he was part of the trade, the Bradley Beal trade, ending him up in Phoenix. He's one of the few players on the roster who actually qualifies as a point guard. The point guards that they do have, aside from him, we've got Saban Lee on a two-way contract. Devin Booker has been playing point guard this year, and then Eric Gordon is kind of the other player who is going to log point guard minutes for this team, and he's a career shooting guard. So Goodwin has a major opportunity with the Suns to carve things out. Obviously, he's on a not a standard contract, a minimum level contract. So based on his play this season, he could end up carving out some real money for himself, and really make a career and a lasting legacy for himself and his family. So that's everything that he's working for this year. Let's dive in though on his ratings, because at a 72 overall, I called him the one of the worst rated players in NBA 2K. He might be the worst rated, not in terms of like his rating is low, like he's the lowest rated player, but just in terms of his ratings just don't really describe who he is as a player. And obviously, in general, his overall rating is way too low. He played 30 minutes last night in the absence of Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. He is ahead of various other players on the depth chart, like Chimezi Metu, Keita Bates Diop is yet to play for the Suns. Bull, obviously way overrated at a 77 overall. So we definitely want to get Goodwin up above the other guys on the two ways, certainly. Let's uh, let's dive in on his attributes, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So his archetype, by the way, is inside out scorer. He had no badges, which we'll go over in a second. And let's start off with the offensive attributes. Driving layup, I'm going to knock this up to an 85. Goodwin was 58 of 98 from the field on layups per basketball reference, 59% from the field, 29% assist rate, 3.2 field goal attempts per 36 minutes. Anytime I say 3.2 field goal attempts or whatever, it's going to be standardized to per 36. So don't freak out if I don't say anything. Because I use 36 minutes because that's essentially if he played starters minutes, this is what he would be producing. The 29% assist rate means he's creating a lot off the dribble, so we can take his 59%, which is essentially an 80 base, and then boost that up to an 85 to factor in that he is taking more difficult shots than your average player. Post fade, kind of surprising, but I'm actually going to boost this up to a 70, as Goodwin takes one fadeaway per 36. Post hook, I'm just going to boost this up to a 50.1 for him. Post control, even though I boosted those ratings, he doesn't actually create shot. You know, his post control, I consider that comparable to like ball handle in that it's your shot creation metric for this is your shot making and this is your shot creation essentially. Given that Goodwin doesn't really create shots in the post, it's okay to have him with a low post rating and these ratings to be just a tick higher. Draw foul, 19.5 was his draw foul rate last year. So basically, zero point 0.2 free throws per field goal attempt. So for every 5 shots he's taking 1 free throw. Oops, dropped that a little too low. He should be 55. Close shot, 2K more or less got this down. 60 of 135 from the field last year, 44% from the field, only 17% assist rate, and then 4.4 field goal attempts per 36. That is a standard shot creation for a guard, and then very good with the shot difficulty. So 92 is I think pretty solid for him overall. Mid-range shot 13 to 34 last year, 38% from the field. Again, only 15% of those were assisted, 1.1 field goal attempts. So we will actually knock this up to 79 because he did a lot off the dribble. Three-point shot, 38 of 118 from the field, 32%. That's low, below average. 87% assisted. It's kind of like average-ish for a guard. And then 3.8 field goal attempts per 36. That's below average for a point guard. So we're just going to leave this as is at a 76. Normally, he'd probably be a little like if he took just an extra shot per game, he'd probably end up being a 77 for me. But certainly something that he's going to need to work on. Obviously, discussed before, he's not the greatest shooter in the world, or at least he wasn't in college. So, big improvement for him. He's shot 27% on threes in his college career. So I would have had him probably like 69-ish as his like rating entering the league, which just isn't good enough for a guard in the NBA. So he's definitely made some progress. Hit 77% of his free throws last season. Ball handle, we're gonna boost this up. He 2K. He began his 2K career as a shooting guard, so his tendencies are also probably a little bit messed up. And he switched over. It became clear that he was a point guard. I understand them not really having a good grasp on him during his rookie season, where he only played 6 minutes. But they had a whole year of him playing to kind of course correct. 78 is, and I believe they actually did to an extent. Last year, he started NBA 2K23 with a 73 ball handle, which is more in line with like a two guard who doesn't create at all. So they did boost it 5 points, but we're going to bring this up to an 85. He had 5 pick and roll possessions per 36 minutes and then 0.6 isolations. So pretty standard as terms of, that's like an average point guard's shot creation on the ball. Pass IQ and pass accuracy, we're going to boost those up. Goodwin actually has a surprisingly high assist-to-turnover ratio, 2.94. So he is, at the very least, very good at taking care of the ball. Doesn't have the greatest assist rate, though. Only a 20.8 assist percentage. We're actually going to drop this down to a 66, but that's just more or less going by my scale rather than 2K's. There is some slight variation there. Offensive rebound, no variation there between me and 2K's scale. It's a 55, 6.0 offensive rebound percentage. That is very good for a point guard. Might be the best in the league. Certainly I would say top 3 without checking. So he definitely crashes the glass very hard for a guard. One of the more he's a big time hustle player. Had to make his name on defense rather than offense. So this is going to come up in a few other areas later. We need to boost his dunk ratings for sure because he dunked 5 times last year. And he won't be able to dunk at all with a 35. So we're going to knock this up to a 60. Point 0.3 dunk attempts per 36 minutes is what Goodwin had. Shot IQ, he had 53 true shooting on 17 usage rate. Obviously, he's still feeling himself out as an offensive player. Aside from and obviously playing for Washington didn't exactly give him the world's greatest discipline either. So 65 I think is fine. This is again like the low end of this is like 50 to 60, and that's like your Russell Westbrooks when he's doing the Westbrook thing. I think actually this year Westbrook with the Clippers is going to have a much better shot selection. So, but I think 65 is fine for Goodwin. And then hands, we'll just leave that at 80. I think his catching ability is more or less average hands. Defensive rebound, 14.3 defensive rebound percentage, so that is standard. We're going to just tweak down his interior defense. I do use a multiple of 5 system rather than 2K, which I don't want to talk too much about their system because clearly it's not very good. Goodwin is a good defensive player, so we are going to boost him from a 63 to an 80, so that he's an actual defensive player rather than one of the worst players on the Phoenix Suns. We are going to just standardize his block and steal rates, 2.0 block percentage. Pretty good for a guard. I think that's probably tops among point guards, certainly. Danny Green is like the all-time shot blocker for a 2 guard in his career, and he's like typically in the like 2 to 2.5% range. So that should give you an idea of just how good Goodwin was as a shot blocker last year. And then 2.6 steal percentage. If he played enough minutes, this would have qualified for the leaderboards. Definitely something he is very good at. And lateral quickness. This goes back to 2K starting him off as a 2 guard rather than a point guard. And in general, his athletic ratings are absolutely heinous. This is something that 2K, they will add a player to the game and then just never adjust their athletic ratings ever. They primarily focus on the offense and defense ratings, and then everything else will just stay the same for like a 6-year period. So we are going to boost his lateral quickness to an 85. Again, this kind of goes hand in hand with the perimeter defense rating. We're going to boost all of his athletic ratings so that he's in line with an actual like an average point guard, not like one of the least athletic players in the NBA. He ain't TJ McConnell. Dunked 5 times last year. Obviously needs a higher rating here than a 55. 6'3", 200, has a reasonable amount of strength. Stamina. He played 30 minutes per game as a starter last year, and obviously mentioned that he played 30 minutes in the last game that the Suns played. So let's boost this up to a 90. Hustle, hit 3.6 deflections per 36 minutes, plus 20 to a 95. Again, this is where he makes his name as a player. Not that 2K would know that. Boost up the durability. He played 85% of his games he was healthy where he played in 85% of the games that he wasn't a DNP CD for. I guess is how I would say that. Consistency, oh my god, yeah, they just straight up don't know that he's a defensive player, and I don't know what they did with the offensive consistency ratings this year. Everybody has like a super high rating. We're going to drop this down to a 65, and we're going to boost this up to an 85, as that's an actual depiction of who Jordan Goodwin is as a player. As mentioned, not the most efficient offensive player in the world, but certainly takes care of business on the defensive end, and the same thing with the pass perception. Great in the passing lanes, 3.6 deflections, etc. Help defense bring this up to 70. 75 is the average for a player, or at least for a starting caliber player. He comes off the bench. He played with the Wizards, who aren't a great defensive team. I'm sure there's still... He's much better on the ball than he is as like a team help defender, I think. So we'll start him at a 70, but I can see this going up to a 75 or 80 this year. Certainly the tutelage of Frank Vogel, his coach, who's a defensive-minded coach, could pay positive dividends here. Intangibles, we're just going to boot this to a 70. That's the number that I give to role players. I expect that Goodwin will be in the rotation for the Phoenix Suns this year. If he's not in the rotation, when Bradley Beal comes back, we can drop this down back to a 60. But as he's like the only actual point guard on the team and one of the few guys who actually plays some defense in the backcourt, I do expect him to be a stable part of the rotation. We don't need to adjust the potential. This is going to auto-correct itself because the minimum is whatever the player's overall rating is. In fact, if I hit left, I can't go lower than a 72, and it should just auto-correct. Oh, no, you can. Okay. In past years, it did that. Oh, anyway. Let's back out. And I've got him all the way already +4 to his overall rating. We see his archetype changed from inside-out scorer to two-way, three-level shot creator. And I think that pretty much summarizes what I went over with the attributes. We made him a defensive player. We upped his shot creation and 3-level. I wouldn't really consider him a 3-level shot creator because he is a little suspect from the 3-point range. I imagine if I drop this by like a point, it's going to change his archetype or something. Yeah, by 2 points, it gets into mid-range slasher. I think that's more in line with what I would consider Jordan Goodwin to be. Certainly, the gap between a 74 and a 76 is not so massive, and I don't think that anybody with a 76 3-point rating should be considered a good 3-point shooter or anything. So you definitely want to do most of your scoring with him inside of the arc. Let's dive in on the badges. But before we do that, already we've boosted his status in the rotation. The only guy not in the rotation so far is Bull. I haven't done all the ratings for the Phoenix Suns, but I would anticipate that I'll probably have Eric Gordon at a 78. Bull absolutely need to tank his rating. In fact, I'll just do that here. We will drop this all the way down to a 25. And that should help things quite a bit. I should actually mention this is the 2K's official roster and not my roster. So I've actually already done this in my roster. And is there anybody else you would need to fix? Yeah, Yuta Watanabe. We need to get him in the rotation. Chimezi Metu, let's get him out of the rotation. And this is all 2K New Sports needs to do in order to fix the rotations, and it's really simple. This is all you need to use intangibles for. Let's get K to B its D up a little lower. Head to the rotation. We see Bul's the 8th man on this team. Yuta's out of the rotation. Goodwin's not even on the active roster. This is a fucking problem, but they don't know what they're doing. So let's just automate. Boom. And we fixed their rotation. Oh god, is Goodwin starting or anything? Ugh, alright. So Goodwin is starting. I went too far, but that's also because Devin Booker is the starting point guard. So let's do that. All right, and oh my God, we did it so hard that Bradley Beal was the coming off the bench, the 6th man or something, or maybe it was Okogie. I wasn't paying too much attention, but where is Goodwin now? Goodwin's the 8th man in the rotation. Okay, and Nasir Little also is in the rotation. Actually, Watanabe or Little's probably out of the rotation. As soon as Bradley Beal comes back, one of them will probably be out. But in general, we've only got 9 guys in the rotation. How do you fix that? Just head to bench depth and add 1 more guy. Re-automate, and then bam. This is what the rotation is going to be if you start a season. Obviously, if I wanted to get Yuta over Nasir, I would probably just tweak Nasir down a little bit or just actually do Yuta's ratings. Yuta's also comparable to Jordan Goodwin, one of the worst rated role players in NBA 2K24. Definitely needs some updates there as well. But let's finish off Goodwin and go over his badges. There are going to be quite a few that I add to him. He's got 0 in the 2K roster. We're going to give him Acrobat. You may recall that he's was creating a lot of shots off the dribble and had a pretty reasonable volume on from floater range, etc. And on the interior, Acrobat, we're going to give him Fast Twitch, Giant Slayer, and Slithery. And then for float game, we're going to give him a silver. He was creating 2 floaters per, or he was taking 2 floaters per 36 minutes. This is pretty solid. And again, this plays into his 92 close shot rating. This is something that he worked on to give himself offensive value in the NBA. Shooting, he creates a lot off the dribble. So Agent 3, we're going to give him. Blinders, I'm going to give him because I usually give this to any player with Midi Magician. He's basically creating one shot per game in pull-ups and step-backs. Basically, your difficult shots from either of these ranges. He's taking one per game from mid-range and three. So I'm also going to give him blinders. 0.7 step-backs per 36 minutes. This is like on the fringes of having the badge, given like the sample sizes and stuff. I think it's all right to just give him a bronze space creator. And then, as mentioned, he takes one fadeaway per game. I'm not going to quibble over whether or not it's from the post or not. I just give everybody who does it the badge. And then moving on over to playmaking. We're going to give him Dimer. 21% was his assist rate. And then Unpluckable, as mentioned. Yeah, he had a really good assist-to-turnover ratio. I need to watch a little bit more tape to figure out whether or not it's worth having like something like Needle Threader on him. I think he doesn't create enough shots for me to throw handles for days on him, but if he improved that this year, then that's something that I would maybe consider. Bailout is another one that you could maybe throw on him. You just got to watch a little bit of tape, maybe stuff like relay passer, etc. Or blow by. Just gotta get a little bit more data on him before we go nuts with his playmaking. And then defense, where are we starting off with? Challenger, again, mentioned that he's got one of the better block rates for a point guard, had one of the better steal rates. So +1 to glove, give him a bronze. And then interceptor, 3.6 not interceptions, deflections. So he's definitely trying in the passing lanes. So I think interceptor's fair. And if he continues at that level and plays at this level for the Phoenix Suns, who are a contender, I would probably boost this up to gold, to be honest. A workhorse, we're going to boost this to a bronze. Again, he's made his career so far on being a hustle player. I'm not sure about fast feet. Again, I want to watch a little more tape on him. But you could give him, depending on the type of defender that he is, with the Phoenix Suns, you could give him fast feet, pick dodger, and clamps. I just want to get a little more tape on him. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more eyeballs on him as he plays for the Phoenix Suns rather than when he was playing for the Washington Wizards, who were one of the worst teams in the NBA last year. And I do want to give him 94 feet, though, just so he can give a little bit of full court pressure. And then rebound chaser, as mentioned, he's one of the best offensive rebounders for a point guard in the NBA, if not the best. So we'll give him that. So let's see what we got. 18 badges, up from 0, and this boosts his overall rating again. Makes him top 5 on the team, but again, I would have a higher rating, I think, for Eric Gordon, Drew Eubanks, and Grayson Allen. I'd have probably all of them around like the 78 overall range. So, yeah, right now I've got Goodwin. Without any changes, you got Goodwin as the 6th man on this team. Let's exit and just see where I've got him in my roster, which again, you can download yourself. 3,000 people have done it so far. Join the club, Real 2K rosters, modern era. And I will be working through this for every player on every team gets this kind of love. I've got him at the 77, Eubanks at the 77. I have not done Eric Gordon yet. Let's just boost his intangibles up just so that fixes their rotation a little bit. Boom. And if I recall, Grayson Allen started rather than Eric Gordon in the last one. So let's throw force non-starter on Eric Gordon. And that fixes that. So yeah, I've got Goodwin as the 8th man. Let's get Beta Diop down a little bit so he's out of the rotation. That fixes that. And similar issue, I need to get Yuta up, and let's also make that a 10-man rotation. I've already got him maxed. Who was in there? Bates Diop. Sure. And there you go. We have the Phoenix Suns full rotation and Jordan Goodwin performing at the level that he's going to perform at. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe. Do you think I went too high on Jordan Goodwin? Are there any players that you think I should focus on next in this video series? Let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later, and feel free to hit me up if you want to get access to my spreadsheet, which is available on patreon.com/real2krosters. See you guys throughout the year. Peace.